Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Okay, welcome. Let me move these things around. Welcome, TikTok. Welcome, Instagram. Welcome, Facebook. Y'all, the wind is crazy today. The wind is freaking crazy. So I'm going to try to be succinct so that hopefully we don't have too many connection issues. But I'm so sorry. Colorado has decided to just go nuts with the wind today. So, first and foremost, y'all, it's publishing day. I am officially published. We launched today. Guys, I wish I could tell you all the excitement that is happening. I have seen so many people posting about this already, maybe because they got the audio. People were staying up until midnight last night to listen to their Audible version. All this stuff. I'm so excited. This is just what a cool experience to see my work in the world. And very, very special. Go to the same website you guys have been going to. If you already bought a book, you're going to have to buy one more, but you're going to want this bonus because to get these things, it doesn't even happen. Like there's not even a dollar amount you can put on it because it just doesn't happen very much. But my husband, the spiritual activator, many of you know him, and of course myself, you guys don't know this maybe, I do energy work as well. So we are going to gift anyone who buys a book today. It has to be today. So buy one more book, buy it for your friend, send it straight to their house. It will be the most inexpensive experience you'll ever have. But we are going to do an attunement. I am known for my attunements. All of my authentic lifers who are watching, post about it. Explain to people the attunements. There's also some attunements in this book where you can go to a website and you can hear them. They're really incredible. I don't know, it's just a gift I was given, but they're a lot of fun. And then my husband, spiritual activator, Oliver, clearing and energy clearing to unblock anything that's in the highest good of all, to unblock, to assist you in unblocking for manifestation. So you guys can just be in a super high vibration as you're reading the book. Really excited about that. Again, that's just for today. Have to buy the book today. And if you bought the book already, I love you. I'm sorry, not sorry. You got to buy it today. Cool? Okay, let's jump in. Today is going to be an interesting day. I'm excited to see how you guys digest this information because I think sometimes when I talk about love, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, if you haven't seen it in action, you're probably like, oh man, here she goes, the woo-woo stuff. Or love has been so misgiven to you your whole life that it's like such a turnoff. I remember, so you guys, many of you know my tagline, and in case no one has told you today, I love you. And it came up like years ago. I just realized, I was like, dang, no, not enough people hear this. And I mean it. Like I have a love that I get that some people don't get for humanity. I'm okay with that. But I mean it every time. But it's always been this mix of my clients. It doesn't stop them from wanting to learn from me, which is funny. But I'll be like, they're either like, I cry when I hear it. It just, it fills me up. And now I can say it to others and it creates a beautiful healing. Or they're like, I don't like that you say that. It seems fake or whatever. And I just had this happen. It takes a lot to offend me, guys. I don't mind at all. I completely understand. But I know that it's an area of opportunity of growth for someone. And so anytime that someone says this, and this just happened, where someone who I love very much was like, it just seems weird when you say it. And I don't say that. It's a very special word and, all this stuff. And I was like, that's okay. And I said, if the time ever comes, I look forward to it when you say it to, people openly and you literally feel it and you give it. It took me a bit to get there. And y'all, not even 24 hours later, this individual was saying, I love you and meaning it. And even said it to me when I came back to speak. It was the coolest darn thing. So anyways, but we're not talking about love super woo-woo-y today. Although, that's a portion. But I want to talk about how to get yourself into the state of unconditional love, which to me is a frequency. It's a vibration. And I'm going to explain why for some of my taglines I said it's like the clinical answer to manifestation. So I've got 3 little pieces I want to go over. They're the things that I had talked about in my little tagging thing. TikTok, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, that's okay. So first is, Well, let's talk about the story as to why I even bring love into manifestation. Because I'm not trying to be woo-wooey about it. There's a whole reason behind it. So one, I've just always had like a deep care and compassion for humanity. As a little girl, I'd sit in my room crying, but I wouldn't be crying for myself. I'd be like, I don't know who they are or where they are in the world, but I'm research clinically, right? Doing this clinical work. And so I was working on psychosomatic illnesses, nothing to do with love. But I remember this psychiatric nurse coming to me and she wanted to shadow me. She's like, how are you getting these results that you're getting? This is freaking insane, right? And I was like, it is really insane. I'm not second guessing it. I'm just letting my intuition guide me, which is actually the framework that eventually what I was doing there became some pieces of my practitioner. Well, I have 2 practitioner programs, but that's what my coaches and my practitioners out in the world do now. So anyways, she's like, can I shadow you to understand a little bit more of what you're doing? And this was a couple different folks. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Come aboard. And can you tell me what I'm doing too? Because I'm not sure that I could, explain it. It's just such a natural process for me. And so I was doing intuitively what the machines we were using, because we had these folks, this clinic's patients hooked up. We were reading, the feedback that their brain, their thoughts, all that was giving in real time. But sometimes I could figure it out before the machine. Crazy, right? So anyways, one of the reasons that this was what I found out, so she shadows me and after a couple sessions, she goes, what is it? What is that energy that comes off of you? It's like, as soon as you start session, boom, it's there. And I sat and I love them so much and I see them as whole. And monks actually do this. Come to find out, I didn't know. A part of how they do this process with people is that they see them as already, they don't even need fixing, if that makes sense. So anyways, I was just doing it. I didn't know why or how. But when I thought about it, I was like, they're so perfect to me and I love them so much and I want them out of pain so much. And they just get to this certain frequency. And what I noticed, the reason we're talking about love today and why it needs to be a part of your manifestation process, is that when I started turning that love inwardly as well, and receiving it, being willing to receive it from my environment, I noticed that it caused the subconscious mind to chill the F out. When love is present, you know how people talk about, like, I've been dealing with this issue, I call it in the chair, in therapy for 15 years, 30 years. Then I do a program and poof, it's gone, right? I like that. I quite like being known to do that. But I sat there and I was like, so why would that be? Well, if the subconscious holds most of our manifesting energy, most of our past, you guys know, we've talked about this for the past 3 days now, right? Most of our past, our programming, our traumas, our beliefs, our thoughts, it's buried in there somewhere. We got to pull to those, points. Why can we not ask ourselves why to get down to a root, which is a huge piece of my work. We need to get to the root. Pull the whole darn tree out. I don't have time to wait. We got to pull that whole sucker out, right? We're not going to sit here and trim the branches and blah, blah, blah. No, we're going to pull the whole thing out, root and all, or as deep as we can go. But how do you get to a point where you are willing, where your subconscious is willing to release all of that? The presence of love. The vibration of you will not be judged. You will be accepted. You are treated truly, and the vibration is very important here, but you are treated as so unbelievably worthy that worthiness isn't even a thing. You don't even need to be worthy or unworthy. It doesn't exist. And when you have that type of love, the subconscious walls just go, we are safe enough to heal. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, so how the heck do you do it, right? So we talked about kind of that piece. Now, what I love about love, and we're going to talk about your perceptions of it too, is that it bends time. It can create quantum leaps towards what you desire. Again, why? Because it might take you, if you have no love present and you're trying to work through all your beliefs and thoughts and rewire your brain and, all that stuff, it could take you 15 years, right? Or longer, or you never get there because you're never perceived to be safe enough to step into that space. But as we maybe are starting to agree with, what do you guys think? It doesn't have to be true. And I would suggest that you guys kind of stamp that in your journal or post it up. Like, I'm willing to re-understand what love is. But it bends time, because instead of it taking 15 to 30 years or whatever it is to rewire piece by piece, and usually we've trimmed one branch and we turn around and there's another branch that rebuilt itself, we can go to the root, and we can go to the root very quickly, because we are able to create a space where it is safe enough to fully release, where we realize and we can trust a new energy, a new reality in such a way that things never have to look the same again. So the power of love. I'll tell you guys one story. It is also in the book, The 8 Secrets. It's also in the book, but I'll explain it in like simple form right now. So I was working with this woman, zoom back to one of the clinics, and she had heart problems. I don't remember exactly what it was. Something wasn't operating right. Something wasn't flowing right. And she had a psychosomatic issue. So the reason that this heart problem was happening, and yes, there are technologies, and they're not woo-woo-y technologies. They're scientifically created. I guess all technologies are. It's stupid. Happens, or it's psychosomatic in nature. This particular woman it was, and so they called me in. So I go in, and she was Lithuanian. I don't speak her language. She didn't speak mine. So we had a translator in the room. So this took a couple, I would say maybe 2 extra hours, but I think it was like maybe 4 to 6 hours that we were together. Normally I'm a lot faster. Now I'm probably about 20 minutes normally, but this was in the very beginnings, right? And so I was sitting there and I was talking to her, I'm trying to figure out why, what part of her would cause her heart to do this? This is so bizarre, right? And so I'm going through my little intuitive thing here, and long story short, all of a sudden I'm like, ask her about her mom, little ping. And I'm like, where's your mom at today? Is she, with us and all this stuff? She said, my mom is alive, but she is currently dying of terminal cancer. And I was like, it's like that feeling of resonance. And I was like, this is it. How do I get her to know it? And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, the heart, from a different perspective, being, a source of love, right? And I was like, a little bit, but none of those traumas were the reason. Her greatest trauma in that moment that was causing her heart to stop, shut down, do funky things, was because her mom was the only form of unconditional love in her perception, and life wasn't worth living without her. Because she wanted to die around the same time that her mom was going to die. She was getting her body to do it. Y'all, that rocked my world of understanding of how powerful and how important our minds are to the manifestation process. She moved matter. She was able to manipulate something that's physical, right? You guys, if you want to manifest a car or whatever, it's a physical thing, right? Her heart is a physical thing. And she was able to make it do things with her unconscious thoughts. And obviously this fear didn't have to be true. Of course, unconditional love could be present in other areas. So I'm sitting there and I'm pumping that unconditional love, right? We're making it happen. That just blew me away as to what is possible when love is present or when love is taken away. And so I always say this is just my personal belief, so take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't have to do with manifesting, but I really think that humanity, the next step for us is mastering unconditional love. I don't know if it's the end all be all. I don't think it is. I think there's, is energy and all this other stuff we get to go to, but I think it's the next step. I really do. And some beautiful things happen. So that's why I always said, love, it's how I manifest. That was my first book, love. But not the love that you guys might think. So this leads me to my second part, because we need to break through any blocks you have around being willing to embody this frequency for yourself and for others, maybe, hopefully, and then how to utilize it. So ask yourself right now, and I need you guys to post this up because you might have a hard time kind of thinking through it, so you guys can help each other out. What is your current definition of love? I'm not even going to say unconditional love, because you might not have two definitions or even be thinking about unconditional, because you're like, what does that even mean? But what is your definition of love? If you were to ask me 15 years ago, I think I probably would have lied at first and said, love is beautiful, love is kind, love is new. But if you looked at my relationships and how love was playing out in my life, or lack thereof, if I had to put a definition to it, it would be love is manipulation, love is unsafe, love doesn't last, love is self-sacrifice. All of this stuff that has nothing to do with love. That is not the definition of love. Not even in any dictionary is that the definition. But that's what I unconsciously took on throughout my life. So what's your current definition of love? And if you're not sure, don't be going with like the fairy tale-esque definition. I want to know the definition that's showing up in your life right now. And I always love doing that. Whenever I'm like, I don't know what my thoughts and beliefs are, I look at my life. I'm like, okay, well, what are my thoughts and beliefs around money? Well, what's happening with money right now in my life? What are my thoughts and beliefs around relationships? Well, the definition, the belief that sits behind it. So, okay, you guys are posting up. Awesome. So as you can see, you might have some incorrect definitions. You place them in places they don't belong. Yeah? Okay, so the next piece. Yeah, let's go through this. So, how do I say this succinctly? Now that you know your definition of love, right? Does it work? Does it not work for you? What we want to do now is break the rules around it. We have to change the definition. Now, this isn't about you, again, going into fairy tale unicorn land and saying love is perfect and love is kind. It's okay if you're not there yet. I had to continue to evolve into different spaces of here's what I choose for love to be. And love was unconditional every time after that. And that's why I do what I do and why I talk about love. And I'm okay with sounding woo-woo-y. I got enough science stuff in my background. I know the power of it. And from a vibration, from a vibratory level, y'all, it's in the book. I wish I knew what page it was so I could show you. Let me see if I can do it really fast. In the book, there's an emotional chart that I give. And love is up there, y'all. It's not an enlightenment. Enlightenment is higher. But love, of course, I'm not going to find it. Ah! Da, da, da. Okay, anyway. In this book, there is, and you can probably Google them too, but I have kind of a specific one here, where there's an emotional chart. And so you've got like, death at the very bottom, shame, anger, all that stuff. And you kind of start moving up, moving up. We've been talking about this a little bit the past few days. And close to the top, if you will, is love. And I call that unconditional love. And I think unconditional love is probably like a little bit above love, if you will, because it's not about romantic love. It's not about you only love your child. It is this deep connection you have to all of humanity, to all of existence, and you want well for it all. This incredible unified frequency. To me, that's a part of what unconditional love is this knowingness of connection and oneness. But I used it in clinical settings and it worked. It did amazing things. So it's not just like, let's use it to pretend to manifest. I love myself. Let me do my love affirmations. It's much, much deeper than that. It's so much more beautiful. So we want to break the rules around what is not working in our definition of love. But again, it has to make sense. You have to be on board with it. Rules are meant to be broken. So you're going to build new rules and then you're going to find that you've outgrown them and then you're going to break them again. And there's nothing wrong with that. I call it a rule box. I imagine like a box and all the time it's just falling open. I'm cutting the sides of it and I'm like, okay, I got too small for the box. But it really worked for me at one time because I had broken my old rules. I jumped into a new box because the human mind kind of likes constraints. We like compartments, right? And so I'd write like, what are my rules around love? And you can also do this with other areas of your life. What are my rules around it? What are my rules around it? Right? But whatever is not working or should not fit into, or you would not like for it to continue to fit into your definition of what that means moving forward, what are the new rules going to be around it? I promise y'all, this is so tied to manifestation because we are love beings. We are meant to experience and feel connection to one another. If we start protecting ourselves or misusing the vibration of love or not being able to get to it because we're calling it something other than what it is, we're not allowing for ourselves to fully experience or express what is available to us as humans and then some, as souls as well. So any positive emotion that we shut off needs to be reignited to be able to get to the master manifestations. especially if we want to fully feel them, not just get them and then we're still miserable. To the world and talk about, living from your heart space. How healing that is, especially with where the world is today, how healing and beautiful that is, and how much it naturally raises your vibration when you live in that state, when you break the rules, or maybe build some boundaries around what you once perceived love was that does not need to be that anymore. So the next time that you're talking to a friend or a family member, if I've got any coaches, practitioners, or healers in here, ask yourself, am I bringing in and, cloaking this experience with high perspective? Again, I'm just using different words for the same thing that means love to me. High perspective, understanding, compassion, knowingness, centeredness, unconditional love. And it's just what you are. It's an energy you give. You're not sitting there with hearts in your eyes and falling in love with people. You are in such a caring and compassionate and grounded space that you are a safe haven, I guess. I don't know. You just feel like you're a safe energy for others. And doing this with your partners, with your children, with your parents, when you embody that, it is incredible the information that comes through, the healing that comes through. It's so beautiful. So, so beautiful. And the last piece here, it is kind of one of the secrets, because I do talk about love, right? One of the secrets has a segment, a huge piece is self-love. Now, I'm not talking about you sitting there and, again, you may or may not have certain perceptions of self-love. Throw them out the window for just a second and go. If we can embody unconditional love, we become it and we give it to ourselves. We are in a cycle of receiving and giving abundance and joy and, all of the good things. Love being just like that natural umbrella to it all. But we are in that state, and it allows for us to turn it inwards. So we also have to make sure that we are open to receive, and we are open to experience all that is good. And if you don't have self-love, then let's go back to what we just talked about. Let's break the rules around it. Who do you think you have to be worthy of love? And you can take love out of it and say worthy of your manifestations you desire, because it's the same darn thing right now. Who do you think you have to be worthy of what you're wanting? Do you have to look a certain way? Do you have to act a certain way? I always thought I have to be like completely could at least control in my younger years and all the stuff that had happened. I was like, well, I'll never be worthy of serving the world. How could I ever step into like certain levels of purpose work? I'm not worthy of that. Whoo, buddy, what a great rule to break. And this is my rule now. Nobody on this planet, and I've been saying this for years, y'all, have this really old, I called it a PSA. It was my public service announcement. And I was like, nobody needs to do anything or be anything to receive unconditional love. It is our birthright. And I don't know who told you that you have to do something that is not you, or act certain ways, or sacrifice yourself, or whatever it is to be worthy of love or worthy of on you receiving and giving love. And it could be, I am safe to receive and give love. And again, the rule has to make sense. You have to be on board with it. Eventually you'll be like, this feels totally comfortable. Let me break that rule, and then I'll build an even more expansive one. That's okay. We're not trying to get our brains to go, you're lying, and then we sabotage. But what is the rule that you're going to break, or what is the new definition of love and self-love that you're going to live out and utilize now? That doesn't mean, past couple days, that triggers aren't going to show up when you're trying to give yourself love. That doesn't mean that everybody will be on board with it. That's feedback. Awesome. Not going to change you pouring that inwards, because what comes with that self-love, the worthiness to further receive abundance, the worthiness to shine your light for the world. We've got to facilitate that self-love and break the rules around what we have to do or be to be worthy of that love or to be worthy of giving that love, because it is in direct contact with and really a straight shot for, versus, going all around the circle of what we desire in manifestations that are seemingly unrelated to love. No ma'am, no sir. It is completely connected. Love is the lubricant of light. Lubricant's kind of a funny word, but I like it anyways. Love is the lubricant of light. And if light is all this information that our subconscious needs, you're worthy of love, you can break the rules, your past doesn't have to define you, blah, 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 blah. Well, we need to pour love in so that we can bend time, get to that release in the subconscious faster, so that you're manifesting in the next hour. Release what is not you. If you picked it up, we can set it down. But let's change, break, whatever it is, the definitions and rules that we have that are not correct or do not have to be correct moving forward, of what love means, why we give ourselves self-love, why we take it away, and what unconditional love can become. And that regardless of our human story, we can all embody it for ourselves and for the world. Okay, that is day 4. So, like a broken record, guys, it's my launch day. We published today. I have way too much energy, y'all. I'm like, I'm gonna crash hard tonight and sleep really well. But the book is available as a reminder. Buy the book today. Has to be today. And you will get, you go to the8secrets.com, secrets.com, and you will get an attunement. This is gonna be live, y'all. It's not a recording. So you guys are gonna jump on, or it'll be recorded, of course, if you can't catch it live. But it'll be a live attunement from yours truly, as well as a live healing, energy clearing, and really clearing the blockages towards manifesting all that you desire. And I really believe, obviously this has what you need to clear the blockages, but we're also interconnected. And so I love when we can lend each other's energy and each other's love and support to, if it's in the highest good of all, to assist in a more rapid removal of the blocks. And maybe, because it's our spiritual gifts that we're able to give a little something extra, especially with attunements, that's always how it goes. There's like some crazy key or download that people get in these types of experiences with my husband and I. It just feels absolutely right to activate y'all as much as possible, especially as you will be embodying this, and I'm not saying it for myself. This information flowed through me. I'm really, really lucky that I got to be a vessel. But this information is incredible. And that's not coming from ego, it's just truth. And I'm so excited about it. So go out and purchase it. If you already did, that's okay. Purchase it again for the attunement and the blockage energy healing clearing. And we'll rock and roll. So this was day 4. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 5. And we'll just continue bouncing along and making magic happen in the highest good of all and for the world. All right, that's it. I'm going to celebrate for a minute, in case no one has told you today. Love you all.